guztioi, gaur kafe bat hartuko dugu Nowhere to go but everywhere zuzendarietako batekin, ERIK SHIRAI. Bere laburmetraia Zabaltegi Tabakalerako sailean dago, eta gaur hemen gurekin daukagu. Hola, buenos días a todas. Hoy nos tomamos un café con uno de los directores del cortometraje Nowhere to go but everywhere, que compite en la sección Zabaltegi Tabakalera. ERIK, hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you very much.
We are going to start from the beginning. I would like you to talk to us about how did you came up with the idea of doing this short film, and yeah, that's it.
So my co-director Masako and I, we are in the process of making a feature-length film, and we've been making it for the last 5 years. And we had an opportunity during the process to make a short film. And since our fiction feature film is based on this true story of Takamatsu-san, who goes diving to search for his wife, we took the opportunity to make a short film about him. And so this is sort of our sort of interpretation of his story. And so, yeah.
And did you, from the beginning, did you know that the title of the film was going to be this one? And could you tell us a little bit about the story behind the title of the film?
So the title is actually from a Jack Kerouac book. I think this title is really because of where Masako and I were in terms of during the pandemic and during COVID, just feeling sort of trapped and sort of struggling with where, not just ourselves, but the whole world basically struggling of just being stagnant and not being able to go anywhere and feeling kind of lost. And we thought during this making of this film that it sort of kind of reflected a lot through what Takamatsu-san was doing, which was, going into this big void of the ocean and searching for something that was probably very unlikely that he would find, but being inside of it, inside of this space, being inside the ocean and diving, I think opened up this new door that you didn't even know existed. And I think the idea of, if you just throw yourself over the edge, something that you completely unexpected you might find. And I think that's where Nowhere to go but everywhere really comes from.
And how did you build the relationship with the main character? Because he's the main character of your film too. So how it's been to the relationship with him, and how did you get to know him and everything?
So our main character, Takamatsu-san, is very, very shy. When we first met him, when we were doing research for our fiction film, I mean, he was almost painstakingly shy. And so it took years of just kind of, getting to know him, taking time, going out to eat with him, and getting more comfortable with him. And I think the community he built with different divers and the people he goes diving with, I think just really kind of opened him up a little bit. And so it became a little bit more easier to talk to. But with any subject, especially with, nonfiction and documentary, it's just spending a lot of time with them and listening to them.
And well, you were saying that this short film comes from a feature film. I mean, you made it while you were doing the feature film. How was the writing process for the short film? How did you, how did you plan and how did you write the script for this short film?
So our initial idea was to take a part of the feature film and make it into this short film. Obviously, with documentary and nonfiction, there's a little bit of you need to be a little bit flexible, and you need to be more improv a little bit more. And so I think we took the base of a section from our feature film, and then we kind of ran with it a little bit, let it kind of flow, and let it kind of take us where we wanted to go or where it wanted to go, the story.
And could you tell us a little bit about the feature film? I mean, what is going to be next?
Well, the feature film has gone through a lot of changes, a lot of metamorphoses, I think. Initially, it was a very kind of straightforward story about a father and daughter sort of kind of coping with grief after a big natural disaster and dealing with the loss of someone that doesn't exist anymore and you have no pictures or anything to hold on to, so it's basically you only have your memory. But as the story evolved, we wanted to incorporate more of the nature element, and so where the story stands now is a little bit more of how nature and afterlife is guiding, in a lot of ways, the people living and sort of coping through grief, and also finding sort of that transition afterlife. So it kind of veers off into a little bit bigger idea, a concept, but I think it's still at the heart of it about this idea of dealing and coping with grief.
And do you always work together, or you started to work with your partner like for this film, or is something you do always, like co-directing? And how is the process, and how do you work together?
This was the first time for me. Masuko she's always been a creative collaborator of mine. She came on as a creative producer for the first film that we worked on, a non-fiction film called The Birth of Sake. But for this project, we collaborated together, and it was a very sort of interesting, for me at least, it was a very new, interesting process of working with somebody else, coming up with ideas together, kind of having this collaboration. And sometimes it can be difficult, but then other times you get to find and create something that you completely didn't expect. And I think it's been a beautiful process, and I'm very, very grateful for her.
Well, so thank you very much for coming to San Sebastian and for being here. Eta orain pelikularen edo laburmetraiaren irudi batzuekin utziko zaituztegu, y ahora os dejamos con unas imágenes del cortometraje.
Yaっぱりこの海のどこかにね、妻がいるんだろうなと思うと、なんかこう探してやらないとなと思って。